Okay, so I'm back again, and this time we're going to crown the frets that we've just leveled. So after we've performed a fret level, we now have some frets that are level, of course, but we also have some flat spots on the fret tops, and we want to round the frets over to have just a tiny little thin line left for the string to just touch on. And what can happen if you just leave the frets without crowning them? Sometimes it can cause intonation problems because the area on the fret that the string touches when you fret the strings, that creates a bigger surface for the string to touch on, and that can sometimes cause intonation problems. So when we crown frets after we've leveled them, we basically want to mark up the frets again with the magic marker, because after we level the frets, we're taking off some of that magic marker. And just to make it a little easy for ourselves when we do the crowning, we're just going to mark up the frets again. And by doing that, we can easily see when we only have a very thin line left in the middle of the fret. So that's basically how it's done. So I actually use this file. It is a crowning file, and it has two sides to it. I believe on this file the two sides are identical. So on some files you'll have a smaller, narrower side, and on the other you'll have a medium or large sided file. So this is just identical, and it's a Greco file, crowning file, and I bought it from Thomann in Germany. But you can find them elsewhere, and you can find them with diamond coating on too. And at some point I'm going to upgrade this one to one with diamond coating on, and that's just going to give a smoother and better rounding to the frets when I crown them. But for now, this file is a good choice. So I'm just basically going to start by taking the file and just putting it over the fret and just do a couple of strokes back and forth, and just take a look at how much of a line I have left. So I'm just going to do that. I have to take off a little more. Alright, and that's good for now. So I'm just going to move to the next fret, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just take a couple of strokes back and forth. That's just going to be fine right there. And I'm just basically going to continue doing the same thing for the rest of the frets. And basically what you want to look for when you're crowning the frets is that take it slow and don't overdo it, because if you overdo it you'll just end up taking off more material. And just mark up the frets so you can see what progress you're doing, and you only have to leave a small thin line left on the fret when you crown them, and that's basically it. And from there you're just going to continue out on the rest of the frets. So I just have a couple of fine lines here, and of course, as I said, these frets are old and I don't have very much material to work with, so sometimes it's all a matter of compromise too. So I'll say that this is going to be fine, because when we're going to polish up the frets, we're going to use some different grades of sandpaper, and that's going to add another kind of roundness to it. So it's coming along just fine. So I'll just continue crowning the rest of the frets, and then I'll be back. So I'll see you soon, guys. Okay, so I've just finished crowning all the frets, of course. And I just want to show you, as I said previously, that you have to leave a small thin line left on the fret after you've crowned it. And if you take a look right here on this fret, back it up a bit, yeah, like that, you can see that we only have a tiny little line here. And just basically go for something similar to this, a little wider, a little thinner. It's all in between, but basically something like that. And then you're going to be fine. And as I said, now we're just going to polish up the frets using different grades of sandpaper to just make them shine again, and just make them smoother to play. And on some of the frets here I basically had to do a compromise, because some of the frets have gotten a little low due to being played too much and being an old guitar. So at some point I want to refret the whole guitar here and put in some new frets, but it's not going to be now. I just try to focus on getting them polished up and continue doing the work I think it needs, and then just basically in the end plug it in and see what it sounds like. And from there I'm going to determine whether or not I'm going to refret it. So I just want to show you how that little thin line should look. So I'll be back with the polishing process, so stay tuned, guys.